Why doesn't God just throw the devil and demons into the lake of fire now instead of letting them tempt us and deceive so many people into living in sin, which leads to hell? First, I want to say that I'm still trying to figure out this question myself, so please explain the answer if you know it, and as always, correct me anywhere I'm wrong. Let me be clear that this isn't about why did God create a way for Adam and Eve to sin in the garden, or why we have suffering in the world. Adam and Eve wouldn't have had free will if they didn't have a way to sin, and the suffering we live with is due to the curses brought about by sin along with the evil decisions of mankind. This also isn't about why God allowed the fallen angels and demons to sin in the first place. They had free will too, and even though God knows the future, as a just God, he lets the action happen first so he can justly punish it. And I should mention that while the fallen angels and demons haven't been officially judged yet, some of them are already bound in chains to be held for judgment. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 4, "For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but sent them to hell, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment." Jude verse 6, "And the angels who did not keep their positions of authority but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in darkness, bound with everlasting chains for judgment on the great day." But of course, this isn't all the fallen angels. At the very least, we know the devil is around since he tempted Jesus directly, and Jesus casted out demons like legions, so we know that there are plenty of demons around. So my question is, why are the devil and demons not also bound in chains awaiting judgment? Why is God letting them be active on the earth to tempt mankind and lead many of us to hell with them? I can only think of two reasons, and maybe it's both. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Number one, maybe our will isn't really free enough if we're not tempted. Yes, Adam and Eve had a way to sin before the serpent tempted Eve, but it would not have been so much harder to sin then, and even now, with our fleshly desires, if we didn't have to deal with demonic temptation. So maybe our will wouldn't have been as free, which would have meant our obedience would not have been as meaningful. And that brings us to number two. God is love. Love is a choice, not an emotion. And that choice means a lot more if it's a difficult choice to make. It means a lot more to God when we're willing to suffer and sacrifice things from our life to serve him. Jesus hints at this perspective a little bit when he talks about loving our enemies. Matthew chapter 5 verses 43 through 47. "You have heard that it was said, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that?" God recognizes and values effort, obedience when it's hard. So if it was always easy to obey, how could we show true obedience? That could be a reason why God lets the devil and demons tempt us so we can prove our faith and obedience during hardship. The Bible is clear that God himself never tempts us in James chapter 1 verse 13. To be clear, God and the devil don't work together. They are enemies. The devil is genuinely trying to destroy us, and God is trying to save us. But God can allow some temptation to test us. We see this in the book of Job, where Satan claims that Job only serves God because God blesses him. So God allows Satan to take everything from Job to test if Job would curse God. But Job doesn't curse God, passes the test, and is greatly rewarded. Even if we don't understand why God does what he does, we know that his ways are higher than our ways, and we should always trust him. God bless you.